Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soul Seekers podcast, where we believe that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure, as we share our mission of mentorship is conservation. To learn more about everything we do, check out our show on Carbon TV or go to soulseekersnation.com. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. Do you want to become a better shooter, reduce flinch, protect your ears, and just overall enjoy shooting your gun that much more? Then there's no better way to do that than by adding a suppressor to the end of your barrel. Be sure to check out Huxwrx Safety Co, as they are a leader in the suppressor world with their OSS Flow-Through Technology, virtually eliminating blowback and toxic gas that can affect weapon system performance and shooter health. To find out more about Huxwrx, go to huxwrx.com. That's huxwrx.com, and go get yourself a suppressor for your upcoming hunts. This podcast is also proudly brought to you by OnX Hunt. When I first got into hunting, I kept hearing all about public land and different access and how to find different locations to hunt. I was like, well, how are people even identifying all this stuff? Well, sure enough, I came across the #1 hunting GPS app, and that is OnX Hunt. If you guys want to get better at hunting and go deeper into your scouting, OnX Hunt is the #1 GPS app for that. Join the millions of hunters who trust OnX Hunt to find more game, discover new access, and hunt smarter. It was a game changer for me, and I know it's going to be a game changer for you if you've never used it. If you have used it, you know the power that it holds. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to know more about OnX, go to onxmaps.com/hunt. And check out their app. Be blessed, freedom on, and stay soulful. All right, everybody, before we jump into today's show, we got a little discount code for you coming straight to you from our guest of the show today, Austin, the founder of Grakksaw.com. He's offering 10% off to all of our listeners using the code SOULSEEKERS. That's all one word. You can find that code listed in our link tree on our social medias as well as on our partners tab on our website at soulseekersnation.com. But use the code SOULSEEKERS to save 10% off backcountry boot dryers, game bags, skull mounts, and more at Grakksaw.com. Grakksaw.com. Without further ado, we got Austin, the founder of Grakksaw, coming at you. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Iron Will Weber, and we have for you an awesome fella who is on his way of making a absolute, what is it, storm within the hunting world with his game bags and his boot dryers and everything that he's like, you know what, I'm doing it. And that is Austin Bernskoetter from Grakksaw. If you haven't heard of Grakksaw, they are an amazing new company creating awesome game bags. We got to use them this year on our mule deer hunts, and not just mule deer, bear hunts and all sorts of stuff, right, Will?
Yeah, I hung a bear and some mule deer in them this year, and it was nice to see some full game bags.
I love it. Yes. Well, I'll tell you this. We invited Austin on. We met him at the Hunt Expo, used his product, and I always love to hear people's stories. The origin story of how people got started. What inspired them to reach to the point of where they are. Very important to understand. And with the thing that inspired people. Inspire people. And if you're living an inspired life, then it is contagious, just like smiling at somebody and having them smile right back at you. Without further ado, Austin, my man, what's up, brother?
How's it going, Johnny Mac? How's it going, Will? Yeah, when you first told me your name, well, you first introduced yourself, and I'm like, man, this guy's got a lot of energy. I like this guy. He's a big, boisterous dude. Like, he seems like a cowboy. Sure enough, he's from Texas. And then he tells me, we talked for a little bit. We talked for a little bit. And then he tells me, as I think he was leaving, he gave me his card and he said his name was Johnny. And then he gives me his card and it says Johnny Mac. And I'm like, is this dude a country singer or a porn star? Like, what is this guy? Like, Johnny Mac, that's one hell of a name, man. So you have big things in your future as well, man.
Oh man, brother, I really appreciate it. Well, let me just tell you a little story about that real quick. Number one, I can't sing a lick. I can play the guitar. I got my guitar next to me. But
you can act.
but I can act. And when I was a couple years into my teaching career, I had a principal who I was teaching middle school PE at the time. And the principal at the end of the year assembly with parents and all that, they're like, hey, let's have a fun idea. Like, let's pretend we're students and tell the kids what we want to be when we grow up. And so they went through the line of like all the teachers, and it gets to me, and the principal, who has a thick New York accent, like very thick, says, and Mr. Mack, he wants to be, well, I told her, professional party starter, but for some reason everyone in the audience thought she said professional porn star, and I was like, oh.
Wow, this kid was brought up right. Let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, big goals, big dreams. Anyway, so I was getting ready to DJ the after party, and I had all these students and parents coming up to me, and they were like, you want to be what? I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, the principal said you wanted to be a professional porn star. And I was like, yeah, we'll save that for another time.
I can't believe they read that, man. Jeez. Yeah, my schools, they never would have read that.
Well, I mean, this is the Northwest. We are progressive up in the state of Washington at that point in time. Wah, wah, wah. Where are you from again, Austin? Missouri?
From Jefferson City, Missouri. Yep, center of the state. It's the capital no one's ever heard of. They're like, Jefferson, what? It's right in between St. Louis and Kansas City. So
okay, because what's the capital of Missouri? Jefferson City?
Jefferson City. Yeah.
Everyone always thinks it's either Kansas City or St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's funny.
So, and now the Chiefs are finally putting us on the map as Missouri, pretty much. So
there you go. Are you a football fan?
I mean, I like the Chiefs. I don't watch too much NFL anymore, but
dude, either do I. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl this year. Didn't turn it on.
Yeah, I was doing on Grakksaw stuff, and I started watching like in the half of the third quarter, probably something like that.
Man, you're a big dude. Did you play ball?
Yeah, I played football and rugby and wrestling.
That's right. Okay, you were telling me that you took rugby to another level, correct?
I mean, I don't know about another level. Yeah, I played. I got my ass kicked at another level, but I played MU, which is a club team, but they give scholarships to some of the players. And then from there, I played for a team called the Bombers, which St. Louis Bombers. They have a lot of like pro nationals from other, like pro Fijians or something that retired from like the pro rugby circuit. They'll come and play for teams like at that level. You can look up St. Louis Bombers, but I did with them for one season, and I had to travel about an hour 15 from Edwardsville to practice every day. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was I was pretty good through high school and college, but then when I played against those guys, I realized I was not that good. Like, they were guys that quit the pro leagues and they were dominating me.
Yeah.
And then we played like against Lindenwood, which is a college here in Missouri that imports a lot of like French guys and stuff. And I remember this one time I tackled this French dude. Probably one of the hardest hits I ever had. And this guy sprung back up, started speaking French and talking shit to me, and kept running. And I was like, oh my God, that's all I had. And this guy's not even phased. I'm like, I'm done, man. Like, it was fun while it lasted, but I'm out of here. So that was my short career.
Well, they always say, either the game leaves you or you leave the game. So
yeah, maybe they both happened about the same time, but
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. So Austin, tell us a little bit about your journey as a hunter. You live out in the whitetail deer woods of Jefferson City, Missouri. And, and out in the whitetail woods, you don't really use game bags a whole lot. Loaded. I would imagine.
Maybe you don't, dude.
Okay, see, this is everyone makes assumptions.
No, I'm kidding, dude. No, nobody uses game bags. People here don't even know what a game bag is.
So how do you, being a Midwest boy, be like, I'm breaking into the market making ultralight game bags?
Well, I didn't really have that thought at all, but it was like I think my first elk hunt was 2016, OTC, Colorado. And I'd been married a couple years, and I liked hunting, but then through high school, playing football and wrestling and all that, and rugby and college, I didn't really make it a priority to hunt. You always have time, but I didn't make it a priority. And so I kind of got out of it. I would just come home, kill does, sit opening weekend, look for a buck, and then just kill does and stuff. So fast forward, I went hunting when I was in 2016. And what?
No, dude, I'm just I just in my in my head I'm thinking make doe hunting great again. Like
yeah, oh yeah, no. Oh dude, I've killed so many damn does. I love killing does. It's so fun, man.
There's a lot of people that I talk to that prefer doe meat to buck and everything else.
Yeah, man. I mean, I haven't killed too many big whitetails, but I can, I don't know. Sometimes like end of October, November, they're not as good, not nearly as good tasting. They're all rutted up. They're not near as good as a doe. But yeah. Anyway, so it was like 2016. I'd been married a couple years, and one of my buddies lived in Colorado, and he said, "Hey, man, you want to go elk hunting?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He didn't buy a tag, but he just said, you can come pick me up. We'll go out and hunt. So we went out. We got into elk, and I had pillowcases. I literally had pillowcases from house, and it was like, I don't know. It was 8 inch in circumference and 12 inches wide and weighed 4 pounds. I'm like, this is crazy. And it was in my pack the whole time. We camped in, we didn't truck hunt or anything, and I didn't fill them. But the next year I went back in and archery hunted, and I decided before then I was going to try and make some game bags. So I went through a bunch of fabrics, started really light stuff, and started learning like seam types and threads per inch and how to sew, and then finding people that could sew for me, and made a bunch of tests and test game bags, really prototype game bags. Took a set out to Colorado, killed a good bull, and it fit perfectly in the bags I designed. And I'm like, wow, it works. Like, these things are awesome. They're tiny, they're light, and they fit a big bull perfectly. So that was the start, really. So then I had something to go with.
Dude, so do you have a history in like sewing? Or
No, not at all, man. I mean, my mom sews a little bit, but no, and I'm not like good at a sewing machine. I had to learn, I just had to learn basic stuff about stitching and types of seams and stuff like that, just so I could describe to someone who I wanted to sew for me how to do it and what to do, And I eventually found a few people that stuck. So then I had people to make me stuff. And then the problem was like, well, I can make stuff, but now I got to get found out. It's a funny story. My first order, dude, this guy, I still remember his name. I'm going to actually send this guy. I think I'm going to send this guy up every new product I make for as long, like forever. Every new thing I make, I'm going to send it to him. Tim Treffs is this guy's name.
Shout out to Tim.
This guy,
hey-o.
I still remember his name, dude, because it would burn. Like, I made my site, made this. I had like, 20 sets in stock or something. And I just kind of let it go. It was through the winter, and I was busy doing stuff. And all of a sudden, one day I get a call from this out-of-state number, and he's like, "Hey, this is the number to call on Grakksaw site. I placed an order about 3 weeks ago, and I never heard anything." And I'm like, holy shit, someone actually ordered from my site? Like, so I had no idea. Like, it was just sitting there. I didn't think anyone would even see it. And so I'm like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. Gave him some extra game bags, sent him a set, and he loved them. And I started working to grow it from there. So that was
you just
2017 or so.
Were you advertising at that point, or did he just randomly Google like?
He Googled ultralight game bags, and yeah, at that point in time, the only other light game bag was I think what are they called? The Pristine Ventures or tag bags, or I think it's tag bags or something. They were on Rock Slide. That was the only thing even close, and they were, I don't know, they weren't twice the weight, but they were a lot heavier. And I think they used to be made of polyester, which makes them a lot heavier instead of nylon. So I think that was really the only other lightweight game bag. Everybody else was doing like quartered game bags and heavy fabric and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not needed for a backpack hunter. So
What's up, Soul Seekers Nation? Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. As a reward, I have some discount codes for you to use if you are in the market for a brand new hunting pack. Go check out initialascent.com and Initial Ascent packs. They are made in America. Their one-piece carbon frame is an absolute game changer. We run their packs. We love them. And you can save 5% at checkout by using the code SOULSEEKERS. That's all one word. Also, for those of you who are archery hunters and you are tired of shooting at dots on a target, check out deadnutsoutdoors.com for their lifelike 2D archery targets. You can save 20% on all of their products by using the code SOULSEEKERS at checkout. Once again, the code is SOULSEEKERS, all one word. Go check out initialascent.com and Dead Nuts Outdoors. Enjoy the podcast.
So he found it by, I think ultralight game bags or boneless game bags, and he found it. So, and then now, now some of the bigger companies, they got their SEO optimized for that. So I don't really, I'm not the top hits right now, but I'm working with a guy to get me back up there. So.
Well, it's because you got to be a top hitter. I mean, come on, Austin. Let's
I know.
go.
Well, dude, I'm very small. I actually just am now getting where I can produce an unlimited number of game bags. Like I employ local sewers, like white local Missourians, not anyone, nothing against foreign people, but I employ just people from around my town so far to sew stuff. I'm not like outsourcing it to some sweatshop somewhere.
Right.
So it's been difficult to scale, but I've got things lined up now where I can get as many game bags as I need, pending I can get the fabric I need.
What year did you hit the market? Was that?
2018, maybe 2018, something like that.
Yeah.
2019, maybe 2019 was my first, started getting sales. Like, I think Brian Call and Lampers picked me up 2019. They started using my stuff, I think.
Will, you follow a lot of that stuff. Isn't that how you ended up hearing about Grakksaw?
Yeah, through Lampers.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
When I first started when I met Johnny and Tony and first really diving into like hunting videos and all that stuff, I was just drawn to guys like just kind of feel like salt of the earth type of guys. Their content's great. And I mean, being a Washington guy for the longest time too, I mean, that, what everything he was doing was in Washington for a long time. And so, yeah, that's how I found out about Grakksaw game bags was through them. And then I've seen your boot dryers and stuff through that. How many different versions of game bags did you attempt to make before you came across?
Dude, I think I spent $5,000 in fabric and sewing before I had the set I wanted to do. I don't know how many it was, but it was tons.
Wow.
Like tons and tons.
I will say that one of the
that was a lot of money, dude. That was a lot of money to me. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" Like, I would just have, every month $500-$600 of just shit show up. And she's like, "What is this?" I'm just like, cord locks and string. Don't worry about it.
I'll tell you, that was one of the most attractive things about your game bags was, and just since you were touching on it there just a moment ago, they're 100% American made and with American products. Or do
yes, except no. So they're stone in America. The thread is a lot of times Gutermann, but it's not always, that's German. Sure. The cord locks, I actually exhausted every place I know of, but I'm trying one more place to get American cord locks because they're an 1/8 inch. Yeah, they're an 8mm cord lock, and really the only place you get those is in Asia. Yeah, I even talked to the Kafari guys, and they said they can't find them domestically. So those are still in Asia, I'm guessing China. And then my fabric switches from all over the place, from South Korea to, I've got South Korea, I've gotten, I want to say, I've gotten South Korean and Chinese, and I'm actually working on now getting Cordura. So Cordura, everybody knows that brand. They have some ultralight line that it's hard to get, but, Seek Outside gets it, and that's what I'm trying to get. I looked at getting Berry compliant 100% American fabric. And if I do that and sew it in America, I will lose money every set of bags I sell. Like I'm not big enough yet to get the fabric American
Totally.
woven. So, and even the the American fabric, I need to look more, but I believe the plastics they use, they're still importing them from China. Not that that's a huge thing, but it's almost impossible to get the fabric that you need here. And last thing on that, I got a quote from I've gotten quotes from two different American fabric suppliers for the type of nylon I need, and it's a year out from date of order, and I owe the full term then. And the minimum orders are like, 3 to 5,000 meters. So I'm looking at $30,000 to $40,000 in fabric due, and I don't get it for a year. Like, dude,
Wow.
I can't do it. I can't do it. That's crazy to me.
I'm in metalworking and own a business and handle all that import, export, and local mills and tariffs and all that stuff. So it has been a rough several years for anybody who's trying to do anything locally. So totally understand having to do that stuff, and everything's buying power, right? So
Yeah.
in the metal market for me, I got, during the last few years, I was bringing in 60 to 90,000 pounds of metal a month, not pre-sold, just bringing it in to hedge against price increases and shortages, etc. Plus, when
because it was insane last year.
Yeah, and especially when you got buying power like that with different suppliers and local mills, they tend to, you build those relationships, they tend to take care of.
Yeah.
It's a process to get that.
Good
on working for it, and it's definitely being in anything manufacturing is tough.
Yeah, and that's obviously, if I had a perfect world, that's my goal eventually, is to get American made berry compliant fabric. My string is American made berry compliant. That's made in, I think, Ohio. But yeah, the fabric, man, I'm gonna work on it, but for now it's not.
No worries.
Hey,
I know, disappointing. You want to kick me off, Johnny? Dude, I'm sorry, man.
So thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Soul Seekers.
we're cutting this snake oil salesman short, dude.
Well, so here's here's the deal: is the issue is that we need to bring back manufacturing to America. If everything is continuous, so this is the whole. A lot of people, economics 101 people. Here we go. When inflation happens and wages go up and people demand more money to be able to make a living in America, it's cheaper to send manufacturing overseas. And that is why a lot of products are imported because of that. Now, if you want to bring manufacturing back to America, then you have to give tax breaks and give incentives for manufacturers to start making stuff in America. This is the whole issue of like why Donald Trump was pro-America, make America great again, is that he wanted to bring manufacturing back so that we can make our own products and we can sustain our own families and lives and not have to wait a year before we even get the product that we want. It's crazy.
Yeah. And see, the problem is because the American demand, or the demand for American manufacturing and products, is what I would consider so low, like what you're saying, is that then they can't tool up. Like you're saying with your 90,000 pounds of steel a month, you might be in the 1% of companies in your state. I mean, I don't know, you're doing well, but it's like, whenever you buy something American, you're not just supporting that single company and the people that work there. You're supporting this. You're supporting all the supporting industries just to produce that thing. Like these guys producing the string, they're not coming up with all these raw materials. They're not the guy delivering it. They're not the. I mean, they're not the guy with the string processing machines. They're buying those from someone else. So it's like, if you support American, you grow many industries by just that one product.
Yep.
Like there's a lot that goes into making one thing.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
It runs the entire industry. So, it's just one of those things. It's also different what people don't understand with manufacturing, or what's difficult about it. It's one thing also, if you're creating a completely new space, you can get control of the market quickly. So doing things locally and stuff's totally different. But when you're doing game bags and jumping into a space that people already have a hold of or already been selling product in for quite some time, you're trying to revolutionize a new product that attracts people's attention. And ultimately, whatever those people's price market is and things like that, you're competing with as well. until you prove that either A, you have a far superior product, or you can cheaper or whatever. So
Yeah.
you have a lot of odds stacked against you and that. So everybody, don't not buy Grakksaw.
Well,
Get out there, place your
Yeah, they're
orders.
not the most expensive on the market. They're on the top for sure. But I think they're the best, and they're the best for my style of hunting, which is backcountry
They're-
backpack hunting. You know,
everyone's
what
going to
we do,
always
so.
ask about warranty. What's your warranty? What's your warranty? What does Grakksaw
yeah.
say?
So, I think on my site I say manufacturing defects will be covered. Normal wear and tear is not covered. However, I've only had maybe 4 people out of thousands of customers email me about something like they got a hole. Hey, can I get a new bag? And yeah, sure. Usually I can send them a new bag. They'll pay shipping or something. And I've had a guy say before, oh, the yellow jacket's 8 holes in my bag. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll send you another bag, So I've never actually had someone say, though, the stitching failed or the bag was bad. I've never had knock on wood, I have yet to have a single case of that. So,
Right. Or maybe a bone caught the bag or tore it a little bit or something like
yeah.
that. Here's one of the things that I learned in the hunting industry, and I can't speak towards everything in America, but I can say like 90 to 95% within the hunting industry is if a company doesn't have like a Vortex style warranty where it's like warranted for whatever, regardless of whatever, a lot of the times if you just reach out to the company, they're still going to take care of you. And that's what I found to be like really cool because it's people like you. This isn't your full-time job. What are you doing on the side to hustle? And this is just something that you're like, oh man, I see an issue. I think I can fill this void, and you're still doing a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a mechanical engineer. I do that with my brother. And then I sell fireworks too. But yeah, man. I mean, when someone calls the phone, I answer the phone. And when someone emails, it's me. There's not 10 people under me. I mean, it's me. So,
Dude, you can't just throw that out there real quick and just be like, oh yeah, and I sell fireworks.
oh, dude, I got some. I'll show. All right, check this out, dude. My buddy. Yeah, I can say I got some awesome fireworks stories, but
Like,
I've been selling
can say
fireworks
this.
since I was 18. I can't say that much, but you can see this firework. Can you read it, or is it mirrored?
Shift it this way to your face, closer to your face. No, like yeah, there we go. Run, Haji, run. Ah.
So this firework actually caused, like, you can Google articles about this. It was in 2000, I guess 2002 after 9/11, and this drew like nationwide outrage. And actually, one of my best friends in the fireworks world, Dave, designed this for Red Rhino, and it was the most dollar volume ever sold in a cake from Red Rhino, which is a big company ever. And I got one of the. I'm guessing I don't know how many are unshot, but I mean I got one of these, which is awesome, I think. But yeah, I've been doing fireworks since I was 18, and that was way harder to start than game bags. I'll tell you that.
Oh man, we're gonna have to do a whole podcast just dedicated to fireworks. That's gonna be an
dude.
explosive one.
Oh, nice. Yeah, dude,
nice.
I've got some insane stories, man. I got yeah, there's been stuff that makes me nervous still to this day. Like people's hands getting blown off. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Just another day in the fireworks business.
Hey man, I still got all my digits, so.
Oh man, so I Googled run Haji run fireworks, and it's like Muslim group urges fireworks retailers to pull anti-Arab products and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
it was a big CNN MSNBC thing back in the day.
But within one of the how Google always shows images with along with it, one of them says fireworks director. I run, you run. It's like
Yep.
You got to put that on your business card, I guess, huh?
Pretty much.
I love it. Well, let's tie it back into hunting. Let's the firework thing. We're gonna have to save that for a special Independence Day episode.
Oh yeah, dude. For sure. I'll write down a bunch of insane stories. You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like you won't believe, dude. I got one of my good one of my good buddies. He was like in this. I mean, it was a federal case against another fireworks guy that involved like tens of millions of dollars owed to the Chinese mafia and all this stuff. Like it was insane, man. He had like GPS trackers put on his car and
Really?
it's oh dude, it's crazy, man. There's some fireworks guys are insane. Like they're all carnival people. It's a wacky world, dude.
out of the back of trailers, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Oh, yeah.
real quick, are fireworks made in China or are they made in America?
Hey man, I got a story about that too. We can't get into this. Write that down. I have a crazy story. Write this down. Say, why aren't fireworks made anywhere else? And I have a crazy ass story about that. About one of my buddies.
Dude,
who tried to make them out of China. It's nuts. It's nuts.
We are definitely recording a firework episode.
Oh my gosh. Dude, Austin, what I'm at a loss for words right now. Like you are the international national man of mystery. Like you're electrical. You said electrical engineer?
I'm a mechanical.
Engineer.
I'm a mechanical, but I'm what I say a shitty engineer. Like I'm not a true engineer. My brothers, I have 3 older brothers, but 2 of them are mechanical engineers as well, and they're like true engineers, like smart as shit. Like you give them you give them some simple thing and they'll like do crazy equations to solve it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Let's hit it with a bat or so. I passed school and I'm a mechanical and have my degree, but I'm not that great.
I was watching the movie Founder last night for a little bit. You guys ever heard of that? It's like the story of McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
You guys ever seen that movie?
No, I've heard of it though.
Okay, well,
how he started scaling really fast and all that.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen the movie, you won't know what I'm talking about. The whole concept of McDonald's actually got started by a guy, 2 brothers, where they observed how long it took to produce the food and get it to the customer. And what set them apart was they designed their kitchen and their whole layout to be efficient. All around the engine.
Like Lean Six Sigma manufacturing is pretty much what.
Yeah, and so it's like we have these stations. Everyone has a job. It's repetitive, kind of like Ford Motor Company, but from grill to customer in like 30 seconds. It was pretty phenomenal. Back when it was like real meat. I don't know. I'm assuming it's not real meat anymore.
Okay.
Who knows?
Okay, yeah.
We're going political.
Okay, so here's another tangent. Dude, so McDonald's is actually one of the better beefs you can get from a fast food chain, at least from like the shitty burger joints. Don't sue me, Taco Bell. But one of my friends is from a family that owns a very large dog food company. And I'm not saying which company, but they're very wealthy. And they one of their uncles was a buying agent, and he used to go buy lots of cattle. Like I'm talking like millions of dollars of cattle from, probably down in Texas or wherever.
Yeah.
And he said that he would routinely outbid Taco Bell for the lower grade beef to put in dog food. And Taco Bell would literally buy the shit they wouldn't put in their dog food and feed that to humans. So I would not eat Taco Bell, and I don't eat Taco Bell after hearing that.
Well,
that's only removed one person from the source.
Well, you always got to say allegedly, right? Like
allegedly, yeah, dude.
Allegedly. I actually heard that in the news. That was a couple years ago. That actually hit at least my news channels. I don't know if I'm not really a mainstream news guy, but I was like, oh yeah, man, definitely don't cross the border. Everyone always wonders why you're got massive diarrhea after eating Taco Bell.
Why does every item on the Taco Bell menu have the same consistency is my question. It's like a meat slurry. Like, what is that, man?
Yeah, just goulash. It's Mexican goulash. Like, it's disgusting.
Mexican diarrhea goulash.
What is goulash? Does anyone even know?
Polish, man. I don't know.
I'm not.
I think it's
Polish.
Polish.
Yeah, but what is it? It's
No
Taco.
idea.
Everybody,
It's Taco Bell
everybody-
You
slurs.
guys have that. You guys have the no.
have a-
You Texans have the weird Polish places. You guys got the what the hell are those things? They're like meat filled biscuits or whatever the hell. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's now near Waco. I went pig hunting down by actually down south further, but we stopped in Waco and there's all these Polish places with the meat biscuit things.
Yes.
Everybody loved them.
Yeah, pierogies.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan.
Yeah, there's that really big one it's at a gas station right outside of Waco.
Yeah, that must be it.
It's like world renowned for their
Yeah.
Polish meat cakes. I don't know. I'm not even sure. You know what's really funny being down here in Texas? So Austin, I wasn't always from Texas. I lived in Washington State. I moved
His
here.
whole life.
Yeah, I moved here just last June. But I really appreciate, like, yeah, you're Texan. Let's go. Down here, there's donut shops everywhere, and there's donuts and kolaches. And I'm like, kolaches? What is
Kolaches?
Yes. I'm like, dude, how do you even pronounce this? Is it kolache?
Dude,
or
that's actually what I was thinking was kolaches. Yeah, dude, that was what all the dudes were obsessed with. Kolaches. They're like, we got to get 3 dozen kolaches before the wedding. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, that's what they.
Will, you want to know what a kolache is?
Yeah.
Ew.
Tell him.
Pigs in a blanket. That's all it is. It's a hot dog.
All right.
It's just
Don't you dare! You're gonna get pulled out of Texas, dude. You say some shit like that, someone's gonna kick down your door.
I know. It literally is elementary kids' daydream. Like, oh, dude, it's pigs in a blanket day at lunchtime. Like, yeah, dude, it's just dough wrapped around a hot dog. Put it on a stick. It'd be like a kolache dog. Maybe at the Texas State Fair. Okay, dude, this is phenomenal, dude. Austin. So when we were at the Hunt Expo, you had your booth in what I would consider a very good location. Out of all the random spots that you could have gotten placed, did you choose your location? You were central, right next door to Initial Ascent, Kafaru, Peaks, all these bigger companies that are pulling a lot of traffic. Did you? Were you strategic on that?
Dude, I wish I could tell you I was. I actually was I was blessed, lucky, however you want to look at it. There was only like 10 slots left of the whole expo. And they, if you have been a prior vendor, you have priority to get it as long as you pay on time. So I decided I want to get in, but they had no open spots. So I called Shauna there and told her, hey, I paid the full amount, or had my card ready, I think. Yeah, I had my card ready. And I said, hey, if someone pulls out, can you run my card? And she said, yeah, and we'll give you their spot. Well, it just so happened the dude didn't pay in that spot, I guess. And so I got there. And Kafaru actually got there after me. So I wasn't even going to be by them. And they were my saving grace because I was located next to the big companies, but it's just like fireworks, man. People, you need to be at an easy off the highway. Yes. So like if you noticed where I was on the outer road.
Yep.
So that's the analogy. And the only reason it still did well was because Kafaru was past me on that outer road. Thank God. Because if I was one more spot over where Red Patch Outdoors was, they were much more traveled spot. And it was only the next booth over 10 foot away. Like 10 foot can make all the difference. So going forward, though, I will have a more strategic spot. But I was very blessed being by Kafaru, Initial Ascent, Peaks. Tika and Seiko were there, for God's sakes. That was amazing. I'm like, I can't believe this. And yeah, so I was very lucky, really. That's what it came down to.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Dude, I love the expo. The energy.
It's cool.
Is that your first time ever attending something like that?
That was my first time, man. We have nothing like that here.
Yeah. Dude, it's something. I always tell people, if you can get an opportunity to go to the Western Hunt Expo in Salt Lake City, it's worth going and spending a day there because wow, sorry. Between viewing everything, coming and listening to my seminar, like your day is just like the best thing ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. No, it was cool. I think, well, I'm going again next year. I'm going to try and get 2 spots and, maybe in like maybe by next year or the year after, I'll be able to maybe go like Thursday when it's not busy, have some other people work in the booth and I'll just go move around. Cause I barely got I didn't really get to go around anywhere,
Right.
but I saw my wing, and, met some cool people, but it was amazing, man. It's so much packed into that place. It's almost unbelievable. And like the teardown, dude, it's like a modern marvel. You should see that place. Like it's within 2 hours, it's like, oh wow, it's a concrete room again. It's crazy.
That's wild. So you had some pretty cool products at the Hunt Expo. So obviously game bags is the bread and butter. Like that's the foundation. You came out with some skull hooks and then also backcountry boot dryers. And let's save the boot dryers for last. Let's get into these skull hooks because they're not your typical skull hanger, which
Yeah. But we're talking to Metal Man here. He's gonna be like, no.
Oh, he's gonna
Metal Man's gonna be like, that's some shit, man. Who's doing that for you?
Make you a better mousetrap. Here, you can hey, you want Made in America? Hire Will and his company. They'll start putting them together for you.
Yeah, you got some bending machines? No, these are done in US, but I'd be open if you got some bending machines.
We'll talk.
Yeah, so the we just redid our house, and so we had this old cistern they used to hold water in here. You know what that is? It's a big room that they used to run the gutters into, is all it is.
Yep.
And it held a shitload of water, but
is that like
we didn't use
emergency water?
No, dude, they ran this house is 1957. They until I want to say 1987, they ran this house exclusively off a cistern. And during dry periods, my wife's grandpa's who owned the house, he had a water truck, like a fire truck that he would drive and go fill with water at a hydrant like 5 miles away and bring it back here and dump it in the cistern during the summer.
Wow.
So when they ran out of rain, that's what they did. They didn't have a well. And they used to have to crawl in there and clean it out like twice a year, pulling out leaves and dead mice and stuff, really healthy stuff to drink. But anyway, so I knocked that wall out, made it into pretty much my hunting workout room. And I just had all these heads laying around like all over the floor. And so I started getting on Etsy, buying mounts and getting skull hookers and all this different stuff. And I bought probably 5 different mounts off Etsy, 6 different mounts. I'm like, man, these are all the same thing. They're just this thin ass pop metal, just cheap, the cheapest possible thing you could make. Like probably cost 60 cents, like nothing to it. And they're junk, man. Like you drive a screw into it, the head of the screw just can blow through it with an impact. It's like, geez, what is this crap? So I decided to make some skull hanger, and my skulls would always rotate off. Like I have a few busted rack bucks, and you'd have to position them just right and like tape on the mount and everything just to not get it to rotate.
To balance, right?
Because to balance.
Yes. So
I made this little deer plate that all it is a plate with like I think this one's like a 55. I think it's a 55-degree bend with a prong on it. It's like 10th inch steel, and then it's got 2 small wings to the side that they're like little claws, and they dig into the sides, the back of the spine, where the spine enters the brain, back of the brain stem. And so you set your head on, it fits every deer, and you just set your head on it and it doesn't rotate. It's fixed. It's done. It doesn't rotate, and it's easy on, easy off. It's that simple. I mean, there's nothing crazy about it. It's just there. I didn't see any. And I'm like, well, that's easy to make. Yeah. I mean, I probably did like 10 or so designs and got one that fit every deer head I tried. I've probably tried it on, I don't know, 30 deer heads or so, from small, tiny stuff to big stuff. I haven't tried it on small coos or blacktail, but it's fit every whitetail from a yearling to big muleys. So it fits deer.
Would it fit coyotes? Have you tried on any predator skulls?
I actually should. I should go try it on. I have some bear skulls. Maybe I should try it on. But no, I haven't tried it on anything without antlers yet. I should.
And we're gonna have to also send you a hog skull.
I'll just send you some, and you can try it on your coyote skulls. How about that?
There we go, dude. I love coyote skulls. Huge fan of them. Beetle them, and then they make great little paperweights on your desk. I showed actually my very first year at the Western Hunt Expo. There's one of the booths. They're based out of Montana. They'll bronze your skulls, your Euro mounts. It looks
Oh, cool.
absolutely incredible. I'm like,
Like they're actually bronzed.
yeah.
Damn, dude, that's cool.
Yeah, or they'll copper it.
So they gain a little weight. That's cool. Oh, that'd be sweet, man.
Yeah, that looks super
Do
awesome.
that to a really big bull. That'd be sweet.
Yes. Will, when you get your first bull, we'll do that to it.
100%. Johnny, I mean, look into it. They're super reasonable too, like on their pricing and everything. But they have an entire list of different finishes they do.
So when you guys go together. Are you going the Pacific Northwest? Where you got elk hunt all over? Where you guys go to?
Elk hunting for us has been the state of Washington over the last couple of years.
You guys are hardcore, man. That's tough. That's tough stuff.
Right? So I actually went on my very first out-of-state hunt this last year with Will with Initial Ascent backpacks in Idaho for a spring bear hunt. So
Cool.
that was incredible. So a little history on us, because I don't think you actually know this. Will's only been hunting 3 years. I took him on his very first hunt, was a backcountry black bear hunt. And
Cool.
that's
a cool first hunt, dude.
Yes, you can. You can watch it on season 1 of Soul Seekers on Carbon TV.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm gonna write that down now.
So I take him. He gets into hunting. I'm 38. I took my hunter safety at 30. I killed my very first animal, black bear, ironically, in 2017. So what is that? 6 years ago? 7 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't been in the game that long. And so what I really wanted to do is I wanted to master the state of Washington first before I expanded into new terrain. So, I feel like I got a good hold on how to hunt, but now it's time for me to actually go fill a mule deer tag one of these days. And I'm looking at Wyoming for that. Been putting in for points up there.
Oh yeah, man. Well, yeah. First off, if you can fill a Washington elk tag, I mean, I've never hunted there, but from everybody I've talked to, like, if you can fill a Washington elk tag pretty consistently, like, you're doing something right, because that's not easy, man. That's pretty much the hardest.
Is there a glare on this picture up above me? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's a glare. It's right in between looks like a split main. It almost looks like a split main beam or something.
No, here.
Oh, dude, that's a great bull. That thing's got some mass.
Cool.
Yeah, that was my very first elk. So I've
Yeah, that's a good first elk, man. That's a high bar to set.
It was. I had an opportunity to shoot a better one than that this year. I had one at 30 yards, but it had too much brush covering its vitals, so I never sent it. It was
oh man,
dude, I know.
Oh no, dude! You have nightmares about that, dude. Oh man,
we talk about it all the time. Should I have done it? We always
those
say
are the worst.
Never should on yourself. Don't should on yourself. Don't should on other people either. So don't say, "Oh, I should have shot." Well, yeah, but you didn't. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the one that got away.
Dude, that's depressing, man. You're making me think about all the time. The bulls I've. Oh man, that's so depressing.
Dude, I'm on your website and I'm going through the gallery. Are these all the same bull that you're taking pictures of and posting, or are you just slaying that many elk?
I've only killed 4 bulls.
Well, you've killed 4 very nice bulls at that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to find my gallery. Yeah. Some of those are, I think every bull in that gallery is, except a couple are mine. So yeah.
Well,
the deer.
You ain't hanging out with any dinks, that's for sure. That mule deer that you got on your back, that's a great. Oh no, not the back. You're posing in front of it. That's nice. That's all high country Colorado. Is that where you're hunting?
Colorado. Well, the deer, yeah, Colorado and Wyoming. That's all. No, I've killed a buck in Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, the Wyoming, man, that's a great tag. If you get that, we can talk offline more specific stuff, where to go and all that. But I would highly recommend, unless you want to strictly do it with a bow, I would go at the end of bow season and hunt like half your time with a bow, maybe, and then you get to use the rifle. And a lot of units, it
Oh,
opens September. Like I hunted this year for my mule deer September like 3 through 20, something like. I mean, that wasn't the exact dates, but like I hunted the first half of the hunt archery and struck out big time, and then had the boomstick with me. And so come opening day of rifle, I had my rifle there at the tent with me, and I killed a buck like the second or third day. So
you
Wyoming's a great man. It's a great state. It has great opportunity for that kind of stuff.
how many points did you put in for it, or have when you?
What's that?
How many points did you carry when you started to apply for tags?
The Wyoming tag, I think I drew with 4 points.
Oh yeah. See, this year I'll have. 4.
But it's all going up, man, because everybody's scared because all the states are, everybody's getting scared. Like, oh no, Wyoming's going to change over. I got to put in, dude. I bet this year Wyoming has the highest influx of applications
100%.
they've ever had.
Yeah,
ever. And I bet they
their tag prices.
I bet they have the highest special they've ever had and general. Like it's going to be nuts, man.
But
I put in for
2024 or 2025, they put through that they're going to like double or triple their prices. So you're right. I mean, people are
they're going to
for everything.
Yeah, they're going to 1,800 for the special. So yeah, I put in for the special elk this year. I'm not going to get it, but
Well, I'll definitely be hollering at you then when it comes time. That's actually a really good strategy. I would love,
dude. Actually, that's what I started doing. I actually learned this from a guy that I met hunting in Wyoming, but he purposely. I don't even want to. I shouldn't even say this in the podcast. He finds. No, this is for new hunters, right? So it's pretty good. But no, you look for things that can allow you to get an advantage on the season dates. So like, obviously, hunting elk with a bow in the rut is awesome, but you still have a bow. But if you need to kill an elk and you haven't killed an elk and you haven't done it with a rifle or a bow and you just want to kill a bull, you need to look for places that give you that bugling rut opportunity with different weapon types, whether it's a muzzleloader, a pistol, a rifle in some cases. Like I'll say this, in Idaho, you can get a Frank Church. You can get a Frank Church like unit 20, maybe 21, 24 rifle rut tag for bull elk. Pretty damn easy. I mean, it's besides Idaho's shitty ass online lottery thing,
right?
But if it's one of the last tags to go. I mean, you can get that tag maybe every couple years, every 3 years, and it's a hard ass hunt. You're gonna have to spend 10 days, but you can get into elk and you can kill a 250 to 300 inch bull, and you get to use a rifle. And it's September 15. It's just that's a good thing to do for a new hunter. You need to look outside the box for odd seasons and odd structures, and you can get into some good stuff.
See, okay, I am right now. My mind is just blown because I'll tell you why. I grew up in a very linear thinking household. Point A to point B. This is what you do. This is what you've done, and this is what you always just continue to do. It's safe. It's you're able to just manage. The idea of like creating your own item, like, oh, I could create that, is truly outside my mindset until lately. Coming back from the Hunt Expo,
you started a podcast, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, that's okay. Fair enough. I'll tell you that's a good one. I guess maybe more tangible with my hands, but then the idea, like you're saying, think outside the box when it comes to your tags or what's actually possible. It's like take one good hunt a year and really wrap your head around what's going to be your best good hunt that you can get.
Yeah, man. It's like guys our age, like if you play the game. I mean, I'm 30. Excuse me. I just turned 32 yesterday. So guys our age, if we try and play this, do the status quo for the tags, like, oh, build your points. Yeah, in some places it's still valid, but you can build points all day in Utah. Like, have fun paying $180 every 2 years. Like, I mean, you're just not like just doing what the guys did 20 years ago doesn't work that well. It's just like maybe it's different in Washington, but the whole, oh, you get within 100 yards of a bull and bugle, he's going to come unglued and run right into you and stab himself on your arrow. It's like, no, they're going to take their cows and go away. Like,
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's like, I just feel like the younger generation, we're going to have to do things different in a lot of ways. And you can learn a lot of wisdom from old timers. Obviously I'm not saying that, like I suck at hunting compared to most of the old timers, but you need to look at things different. You look at everything, a little differently than they did. Like we're not in the same time, obviously,
Right. The whole, oh, there used to be animals everywhere, and I used to see big bucks here and big bucks there, and what's happening? It's not the same. The game has
No.
changed. The environment.
People are, and I mean, yeah, hardcore hunters. There's always been dudes go backcountry and deep and hardcore places throughout since the dawn of man. But it's become easier and easier. You don't have to be Cameron Haynes to go in the backcountry anymore. But when Cam Haynes was coming up in the 90s, like, you had to be a tough son of a bitch, dude. They had heavy shit. They had no DeLorme inReach. They didn't have GPS. Like, you had to be tough and confident, and like, it was harder. It just was, So they had it to themselves. But now, dude, I mean, I've been in places in Colorado miles and miles in, like, greater than 7 miles from the truck, 7 to 10 miles. And I've run into people every day, multiple times a day,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys your guys is more dense, but I'm sure you've run into people all over the place. Like,
dude, my first hunt was over 9 miles into the backcountry, and that bear that I shot was actually spotted by a yoga instructor from Seattle. And
oh, shit, dude.
She had a dog and 2 students with her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I was getting away from people, and here comes people to ruin this hunt, especially with the dog just ruff, 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 ruff. And so I ended up killing. I was wearing.
Dude, you killed that in front of a yoga instructor? What did she do?
I was wearing
Did she start
Birkenstocks.
crying, dude?
Dude, I was wearing Birkenstocks at the time. I went full granola on them. They didn't know
Damn.
what to think. Yeah, I blew their mind. But talking about bridging the gap of like outdoor enthusiasts to hunters and being like, oh no, we're here for the meat. Like, well, you can hunt bear, you can eat bear, and it's like, yeah. But the whole point is like, it doesn't matter. Like, well, Washington's one of the unique ones because at some point the so far in is so far in from the other side. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you're going to end up being like, okay, I'm really deep, but then I'm almost out.
Yeah.
I'm really far from my car, but I'm not really far from that other trail.
But you're not far from that other guy's car.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, it's really impressive hearing you, think like this and apply it to your life. Well, how you applied it. So let's get into your backcountry boot dryer, which absolutely blew my mind, by the way. And Austin, would that even be possible without 3D printers nowadays?
No, because, well, not in my case, no, because I was able to take it from concept to, a product fast and be able to realize that it had a market and it worked. And without a 3D printer, I never would have been able to make prototypes and test it so many times and so fast. Like, it would have been a giant investment. I would have to put maybe 50 grand in it to just get it done 20 years ago. And like, dude, I mean, I was not in the position and am not to just spend $50 on something $50 grand on something you have no idea what it's going to yield.
Right.
So yeah, the 3D printer really allowed me to move quickly. And I actually use a different thing now to prototype, but it's similar to a 3D printer. It's called a MJF, but it's essentially 3D printing. But yeah, it's a revolution, man. You can make stuff so fast, like, it's incredible.
Dude,
they're not 3D printed anymore. They're injection molded now, but the 3D printer is what got me to be able to injection mold them.
Gotcha. It's so crazy what can be 3D printed nowadays. So one of our sponsors is Huxwrx Suppressors. This year, they're releasing the market's first 3D printed suppressor.
Yeah, they're probably using like titanium sintering is probably what they're doing.
Yep.
Is that Yeah, SINTERNING. Yeah, it's where it's like they take powdered titanium and they hit it with a laser and solidify it, and they keep building layers like that. Yeah, that's amazing stuff, dude. And it's like has a negative connotation from some people, like because they think, oh, it's 3D printed, it's weak, it's junk. But actually, some sintered metals are insanely strong because really good they can get really good structures and fusion between these layers. It's pretty awesome.
That's wild. So explain to the listeners what your backcountry boot dryer is, because if anyone's ever had soggy boots, especially in the backcountry, like when I saw your invention, I was like, oh man, we
So
got ourselves a winner right here.
yeah, so it's essentially it's just two small 50 millimeter fans that are USB powered, and they sit in this injection molded housing, so they're protected. And it's built like a cone where you just turn it over and you stick it. I don't have my boots in here, but you pull your, end of the day happens. You hiked all day. You pull your insoles out. They're sweaty. You lay them on the ground and you lace up your boots a little bit where the tongue is like it would be fitting around your ankle. And then you just slip these boot dryers in the top of each boot and the tongue, and you plug them into your battery pack. And really, it's just airflow. It's not a heat source. It's too much energy to induce heat. That's what your fire's for if you're going to use it. But you just need the airflow. If you have under 80% humidity, you just need air moving. It'll go over that moisture in your boot. It's going to pull moisture out and dry your boots. At 70 degrees and under 50% humidity, it dries your boots 4 times faster, at least, than just leaving your boots sitting with nothing in them. So if you combine these things with a stove and a teepee, or like your defrost on in your truck and the floorboard, your boots can be really wet and they'll be dry in 30 minutes. Like in a teepee, it's crazy how fast they'll dry out just because that airflow, that's what you need, Otherwise that moisture, that humidity just stays in the boot and it can't really escape.
Fascinating. How many of these?
It's really simple, man.
Well, it's simple, but I just got my first, I don't know what company it is. The boot dryers that you actually turn your boot over and put them on top.
Yeah, Pete.
Yep, I just got my first boot dryers just 2 years ago. Up until that time, I was like, oh man, I'll just let them air dry or put them on top of a vent in my house. But they're efficient and it makes a difference.
Yeah. So I have a suggestion instead of using Pete, which I used to always use, but what I do now, like if I totally clean my boots, like my hunting boots, I totally saturate them with water, scrub them with a brush, get all the dirt out, and then lotion them, and the inside's still soaked. I'll just turn them sideways sideways and kind of up where the water can run out, and put a box fan on high, like a foot away. And dude, it doesn't shrink anything, doesn't crack anything, and you don't get any odor, and your boots are dry. Honestly, they'll dry even faster with a box fan. Like it's better. I think it's better than adding heat. And I don't know about your feet, but man, if I use a Pete on my boots too many times, like it just starts smelling funky, man.
Just Stankonia.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe that's.
But no, try that sometime, man, and see. Get not those little shitty Walmart $8 box fans, but like something with some airflow, and just try drying your boots like that next time. You'll be amazed, man. It's way better.
Dude, Will, you taking notes right now? You just like. All right. Yep.
Try it. And if it doesn't work, you can, hit me up and say, dude, you're full of shit, but it works, man. It's way better. Now, I tell people, that's a caveat. The boot dryers are not a 110 fan or a 110 Pete boot dryer. They have limitations. They're a 4.5 ounce tiny backpacking product that runs off 5-volt USB. Like they're not a miracle, but they work, especially with an auxiliary heat source. And I tell people the only 2 conditions they really don't work is if your humidity's 85+%, you're in a cloud pretty much, or it's soaked everywhere in your tent. That is tougher for them. And the other condition is if your boots are completely soaked, you crossed a creek and it's 20 degrees, because all it's doing is it's drying your boots, but your boots are going to freeze if they're really saturated with water. It's just going to make them freeze. It's like putting them in a chiller. It's just pushing air on that so fast, 20-degree air, it's going to make the water just freeze. So those are the 2 conditions it doesn't work in. So I'm not trying to upsell that to people. But And most, especially like early season conditions or air, if it's arid and you're a dry spot, like it works fast. So,
dude, sweet. Sweet. Will's over there be like,
you guys really got to go after an hour, man. I could do this for 2 hours or 3.
dude, we are already at the hour mark.
I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No,
man.
brother. I usually like to always tell my guests, like, hey, we're gonna keep it at an hour or under, and then if it's a good conversation, I'm not cutting it off. But
Okay.
But it's one of those things. It's like, Joe Rogan episodes are sweet, but no one really ever makes it to the end of 3 hours at some point, right? It takes like a
Yeah.
week to actually listen to the whole thing. So, what do you got planned for this coming year?
So, well, I got the elk hanger I didn't talk about. That's coming out too.
Dude,
I have.
we'll talk about the elk hanger, but then talk about your hunts that you got going on.
Oh, I thought you were talking about products I got coming out. Okay, yeah. We can talk about. What's that, Will?
Breaking news. You can release those here too if you want to.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's just these elk hangers. It looks like a dead man in a chair, like someone in a Roman chair or something. And it's tough to describe, I guess, besides that. But it's got it holds an elk skull away from the wall just enough where the rear tines don't hit the wall. It's adjustable, so it can be a small bull or a big bull. And the back of the head doesn't touch the wall, doesn't gouge your paint, and it's toolless besides putting your 2 screws into your stud. Other than that, there's no tools, there's no stick and string and voodoo you got to do to get this thing to work. You just set your skull on top and you're ready to go. So
you're telling me
that's simple.
You're telling me there's no Husker do's, Husker don'ts, no whistling bum holes
with or without the scooter stick. Oh, dude, I've heard that 1,000 times. Trust me.
You're telling me that
I was waiting how long it was going to take for Johnny to take it there.
I mean, you are a fireworks man. So,
Yeah.
dude, that's pretty awesome. No tools necessary other than obviously mounting it to the wall, which, because that's the biggest issue is like so many people who have shot big bulls. In my last house, for example, I didn't have tall ceilings. And so where I could mount my elk, I was extremely limited. And a lot of people are like, put it in the garage. It's like, no, I don't want it in the garage, Margot. I want it in the house.
Yeah, I mean, but such a big problem to have, such a terrible position to be in, Johnny, that you have a bull so damn big it doesn't fit in your house. Well, dude, I can't change the size of the antlers of your elk, so this mount still might not help guys like you that kill big bulls. I'm sorry, dude. I really feel your pain, man.
I killed
Will's
big
over
bulls.
there like, wow, Johnny's a real freaking piece of shit.
This year when he didn't shoot on that elk, I killed my mule deer and then left camp and went home. So
yeah, piss off on him, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, wait till you see the episode that's going to release this summer on Will's mule deer. So Will, should I tell
who does the film? Who films? Like
you could tell the story, dude.
Yeah. So
do you guys trade off? Do you guys trade off? You have a third guy? What?
Yeah, there's a third one. Tony. Did you meet Tony?
Yeah. Right? Didn't I?
Yeah. You met Tony.
I need to see his face.
So, well, get
bring him up, picture in picture. Show me Tony. No, I met him.
Let's see here. Do I have a picture of him around? Oh yeah, here. Let me pull out a good old handy magazine. His face is in that sucker. Tony with a punch to the face. Let's see here. Well, it's just his eyes. Here. There's Tony. You remember seeing that guy?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yep.
I remember that ugly dog. Oh yeah.
There we go. So
shout out Tony. Nice meeting you, man.
Dude, shout out to him. So Tony and I are the original first hunting partners. We're the ones who started Soul Seekers and then brought Will on board. So we all film, we all take turns holding camera and doing our stuff. But I'm going to take credit on this, okay? Will, I'm not taking credit on your shot. I'm taking credit on the fact that we got to see the deer. Because the only reason why we ran into these mule deer that Will ended up shooting on is I'm on an elk hunt, but I'm an opportunistic hunter. If I got a tag in my pocket and I see an animal, I'm going after it. And I'm creeping along. And I'm like, guys, I think there's a bear bedded at the base of this tree. And so I put a stock on this stump.
Dude,
I mean,
I've done it too.
I had an arrow knocked, and I'm like, and I even asked Tony, I was like, Tony, is that a bear? He's like, it looks like one. Like, we're with binoculars, like, I can't tell.
It's got this really shiny black tuft.
Right. It's not breathing or whatever. So we end up making a stock on this beautiful stump, just a booner of a stump.
Oh, man.
Turned out to be nothing. And I was like, well, that sucks. So let's sit down and have a snack, because I'm on Central Time and we're hunting the state of Washington. So it's lunchtime for me, fellas. It's time to eat.
Yeah.
So we sit down, we're joking, chatting, having a great time. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's get up. So Tony's still laying on the ground, and I get up, Will gets up, but Will's looking at me and I'm looking at him, and he looks past me and he's like, dude, there's some deer right there. And anytime you're filming a hunting show, it's nice to actually have video of animals, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
definitely, that's a bonus.
Right. Like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. So I'm like, let's get the camera on it, just a bunch of does. So I pull up the binoculars. I'm like, oh, dude, one of them's a buck. We got a little spike. Okay. And so I didn't have a mule deer tag that I could hunt with archery. I could have. Thinking back on this is one where I kick myself. I was like, oh, there might be a chance I'm coming up for rifle season. No, I should have had a deer tag in my pocket for archery. However, the only person who had an archery deer tag in his pocket was Will at this time.
Smart man.
And so we're on. And by the way, this is a special draw for an elk hunt. So this was like all the marbles were in the bag for this one for us to go fill this quality elk tag. So Spike comes out, and it's a 3-point or better unit, and we're watching the deer and filming them, and all of a sudden this little forky comes out, and I'm like, oh, dude, there's another buck. And Will's just like, from my perspective, Will, you were like, nah, whatever, guys, they're does. And I start looking, I'm like, there's a 3rd point. Wait, yeah, Will, get your bow. like let's
laser that thing, man.
Like, yeah, let's go fill a tag. Well, they were about 150 yards away at this point, and we were loud, but we weren't like too loud. The wind happened to be just perfect. And so I'm like, Will, let's go make a stock. And so I got the rangefinder. Will's got an arrow knocked. Tony's on the camera, and the 3 of us are stalking this herd of mule deer. And they are working parallel. The closest we can get is 85 yards to them. And they're just working. And, there's a couple trees, some bushes. They know we're here. Like, these does have looked at us, all sorts of stuff, but they're not spooked. And so as we're creeping, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, big buck. And I turn to Will and I go, big buck. Now, it is a great buck. And this was also Will's very first mule deer, but it's no like booner. It's just a it's a big mature buck compared to
good buck. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Compared to a fork with, is that a 3rd point? Oh,
Will,
yeah,
don't let him caveat this. It's a big buck, dude. He doesn't have to caveat it.
He's going to show you. Do you got your antlers?
Oh, awesome, man.
You see it?
Hell yeah, dude.
Big old.
I won't have the
Nice dark. It looks like he's nice and dark and thick.
Big old regressed. Will, I could only see the right side. The two.
Hang on.
Could you see the whole thing, Austin?
I saw his hands over. I saw his right side. Oh yeah. Now I got the full picture.
Yeah. So he was
man.
A 4x2 with eye guards, but thick horned. Like
archery, dude, get out of here, man. That's awesome.
So before the hunt, I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell the whole backstory because this might take too long. I will say this.
Yeah.
We keep paralleling these deer, and I'm like, Will, we're not getting any closer than 85 yards. And he's like, Okay. I'm like, put your 60 pin on it and then aim high.
Holy shit, man.
Oh, a little context to that is Johnny taught me how to shoot archery. Like, obviously, dabbling into hunting only 3 years. Like, my second year, harvested an animal. I just went on my first bear hunt with these guys. I was like, I think I at least want to pick up and start shooting a bow this year. Well, I ended up now 2 of my kills. Well, I've killed some stuff around here protecting the homestead too. So I got 4 kills with the bow.
He's talking about people, dude. Jeez, man. Awfully cryptic. I've killed some things around here. I don't want to talk about it. Let's keep going.
I mean, but I've shot archery with Johnny, and he has got me thinking before, like, that whole hunt, when I shot that mule deer, the whole thing was so slow-mo to me in the time. Like, I was processing thoughts, even though it was only a couple of minutes from the moment we spotted the deer to the moment I sent the arrow. But he taught me at one point, he's like, I use, like, if you sight like 20 to 70 on your pins, and then he's like, based on where my 70 pin is, I've used my bubble level as like another indicator of where I can be. I've figured out kind of yardages for that. So when he goes, you know, I went up to mine went up 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pin, and he's like, put your 60 high. Well, I put my bubble, like the bottom of my bubble on its spine is where I put it based on what I knew yardages were.
That's pretty badass, dude.
And I mean, I felt comfortable. I didn't feel like I was sending like I mean, it was a long shot, but I didn't feel like I'm just lobbing one out there. Like, I was pretty confident where I was putting my sight, and Johnny was in my ear, like both actually in my ear. And then I was thinking back to conversations we had when we shot together. So it was like, I used all the tools I had to
And you knew what you were doing. I mean,
I used all the tools I could to make that shot. And
you weren't you weren't guessing where you're putting it.
no,
It's called Kentucky windage out here, man. In the Midwest, that's Kentucky windage. Like, it's a guess from the outside, but it's really not, because you know your rifle or your bow, and so you knew where it's going.
Right. So and here's a little tidbit. I don't know. Are you an archery hunter with bow?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
You a 5-pin guy?
I actually just switched. I've only used a single pin, because being here in the Midwest, I actually killed my best bull with a single pin. But I just switched over to whatever the hell that is, my Montana Gold. Yeah, 20 through 60 with the floater.
Okay. Okay, so you're shooting. You got a 20 through 60 with a floater. So I shoot a fixed 5-pin, and what I've learned is that if you're hunting deer with your archery equipment, you want 20 to 60, but if you're hunting elk, you want a 30 to 70 setup.
Yeah.
And so I run a 30 to 75 pin, and then the top of my bubble is 85 yards. And you have your level, so you know where, as long as that, I run a spot hog, so I have that wire that runs from the top center to the bottom center. And so I know where the center of my sight is, and that's what I was training Will on, is like, use that as another pin. Use that as, and start practicing at long shots, because it makes all the shorter shots that much easier. So I was like, hey man, 60 pin on it, high. I've shot with them before. I kind of knew his bow a little bit as well. And I go, send it. Shooters shoot, bro. You miss every shot you never take, such as the guy who didn't shoot at 30 yards on that big bull. Anyways, he stuck this thing and didn't go 40 yards, piled up, and all of a sudden we were stuffing Grakksaw game bags with mule deer quarters. It was beautiful.
That's always good, man. That's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah, but I mean, if you're prepared, that's what you can do. That is freaking cool, man. I still have not killed a mule deer with my bow, so I'm envious of you. That's pretty awesome accomplishment. It's not easy, man. They're next level harder than elk, in my opinion, to kill. A mule deer with a bow. With a rifle, I think mule deer's, I mean, it's a joke compared to whitetail. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it to the Western guys. No, it's not easy, but it's with a bow, man. A mule deer is a very formidable creature. Sorry,
Yeah.
Will, I cut you off.
No, it's kind of funny because maybe that's why I was kind of like Johnny said. He goes, I don't know. Will didn't look like he was all that hyped up at first when we saw the deer. And it's like, I was stoked that we were seeing deer, but maybe it was like thinking, well, yeah, but they're feeding behind these trees, kind of like not away from us, but as we close the distance, they were feeding the same direction. So it's like we were trying to close the gap. I thought I was going to close it like 60. And then Johnny was like, 85 still, dude. That big buck walked out. And he was going to feed, like he fed right into this little opening. And he was about to just continue on and kind of move out of the way. So it's like, had to make a shot. And maybe that's why, though, because mule deer, like we hunted mule deer last year, the year before together, rifle. And it was like, dude, they'd be hundreds of yards away. And right as they're like, oh, there's deer right there. As soon as I put eyes on them, they were already alerted. They already knew we were there.
Yeah,
like,
dude. Deer, you can get away. With elk, you can get away with twice as much, twice as close. So like, and that's my opinion. Like a deer can detect you almost, a deer can detect you 400 or 500 yards away sometimes if you're on a ridgeline, and you can get away with half as much before they spook, and they don't stop watching you. Whereas like maybe not a old cow, but like some bulls, especially young bulls, they're practically, they're borderline handicapped.
Fantastic about rewatching the episode, because even I'm excited to rewatch it. All three of us are stalking these.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a one deer by itself. You had what, 8 or 10 heads of.
That's like crazy, man.
8 or 10 deer. I saw 5 does right out of the gate, and then Johnny spotted a 6th one. Then he found the little spike. Then it was a fork with a 3rd point, and then
big buck.
They all fed. And Johnny saw them and he told me what yardage they were at, and he was like, the 3-point is out. Just be patient. And I was like, I don't see him. He's like, he's up behind the does. Don't worry. He's going to pop out. And then that big guy fed out last. And he was just fed across. He was eating. His head was down and he was just feeding across. And Johnny's big buck. And I was like, I thought out because he's just feeding across. And I was like, oh, man.
So, dude, you let the arrow go, thwack. Do you start shaking then? Like, did you get nervous then?
I held my bow up for like 3.
Dude.
He did the shot. Like he's got the hand up.
Yeah, like a 3-point, shooter leaves his hand
game
up.
Winner. He released the game winner. Didn't want to let it down.
He let his release hand was up.
Dude,
that a boy.
Oh, I saw the arrow slow mo like going through.
He was in it, dude. He had adrenaline 10 out of 10. Man, he could have flipped a train. That's awesome.
And then I'm waiting for confirmation from these guys because Tony's filming it, but then like they've experienced this. So like I'm waiting for confirmation. I'm like, did I hit it? Because I heard you can hear the sound of hitting an animal. Like, that sound. And I heard it. Like you heard the thwop, like it hit. But then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, it took off, dude.
It's quiet now. What's going on? Why'd it run?
Right. And then they looked at the footage and Johnny was like, no, dude, you hit it. It was just hard to tell at that distance exactly where I hit it. But he's like, dude, you hit it. Like,
good.
And then we went up to look for the arrow and look for blood. And this tree, like 30 yards away, started going bananas, dude. This tree's just thrashing. And I'm like, that's it right there. And Tony's like, let's give it time. It just busted out. I go, no, it didn't, dude. The tree never stopped moving until it stopped moving.
Yeah.
And then me and Johnny ended up walking on it.
That's awesome, man.
I was like, dude, being a new hunter, there's so much running through you, you just don't know. Even at the time when I saw the buck and I realized it was a good buck, I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm just standing there in awe, I guess. And Johnny's like, dude, you better go grab your buck before I.
Dude, that's awesome, man.
Much longer.
Dude, and that's cool that man, I don't know. I can hold my mud on elk, but deer, man, I don't know. I haven't drawn even on a muley. But drawn on a whitetail, man, I don't know. Deer are different, man. I get like typewriter leg and just sometimes like in the right conditions, man, it's a big whitetail makes me nervous as hell. But that's impressive, man. Your first one, you held it together and you were prepared, so you made it happen. Like That's like 1% of people in your situation with your site probably could have done that. So that's pretty impressive, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you hold a world record.
For our
Congratulations.
group.
Hey, I hold a world record too, man.
Oh, are we
Yeah.
doing this?
What do we got?
El Rocio, member of 1,000
Dove.
Doves Club. Wow.
Yeah.
You are the
Yeah,
dove
I'm not.
master.
No, that's on the fireworks one, dude. We'll talk on the fireworks one. I'm not trying to derail Will's story. That's a fireworks one. That's the next one.
Hey, we all have to have our own awards and our own records.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I made myself a Dad of the Year mug that I can drink coffee out of.
Oh, dude.
Dude, it was Valentine's Day yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yes, sir.
I was leaving work, and I took a job recently as pretty much a glorified security guard. I'm called the social studies teacher at this alternative school in the local town that I live in, and I work with this older lady. And when I mean older, I mean shout out to Miss Gertie's. She's full on. Like
Miss Gertie.
she's been there for a long time. She's like, I remember when this building used to be like the ag barn.
Wow.
Yeah, like she went there. And she was like, it's Valentine's Day. Are you taking care of doing anything special for your wife? And I was like, Miss Gertie's, my wife gets to be blessed by me every single day. She rolled her eyes at me, and I was like, come on, Miss Gertie's, you know I keep it good for my wife. Anyway, it just cracks me up.
Glorified security guard. So, like, alternative school. What is that even? What is an alternative school? What does that mean?
Oh, dude, alternative educational program, district approved. It is it's kids are closer to jail and prison when they get to me than they are to returning back to Gen Pop, the general population, right? So in order for them to get to my school, they have to be somebody who's had a referral and then gone through detention and in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension, and now they are to the point where they come see us. Walk through metal detectors. They got kids with ankle monitors on.
No window.
Dang,
No windows in the
No
place.
windows?
No windows. No. Like I walk out in the afternoon, I'm like, oh, that's what today's like. Oh, nice.
Damn, man. So you deal with some. I mean, I guess. Well, you let me know. Do you deal with a bunch of crap on a daily basis, or kind of once they respect you, they respect you, and it's not terrible?
Yeah. No. It's it's kind of like Dangerous Minds, but not.
Sorry, what? Will, what'd you say?
The cage is like a box of chocolates, man.
Oh man.
Definitely.
So the interesting thing is that these kids, they'll be like, all right, you're at this school for like 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, or whatever. Well, like I've only been there for what, a month, maybe? But
So it's high turnover.
Yeah, but kids don't actually know that I've only been there for a month. Like if they're brand new, they just assume that I'm the teacher. I had a kid yesterday. No, it was actually today. By the way, I get called a lot of explicitives. This is the principal or the administrator of the building is like, hey, just so you know, you can't take offense to language because you're going to be called everything in the book in this place. I was like, all right, fair enough. He goes, don't take things personal. This one kid, he's a 6th grader. He's been there since 2nd grade or whatever. Type of kid that like you're
lifer.
Yeah, like a lifer. You know, like where people do better in prison than they do in real world because they get what is that?
They got their structure, man.
Yes, like they feel comfortable and safe. Anyways, he got all upset at me today, and he was like, man, I've been here longer than you, and I'll be here longer than you. And I was like, you're probably right.
Dude, it's funny, but it's sad, man. Damn, that's sad. Like, man, you got a big heart and or big balls. Like that's not easy, man. That's a hard freaking job, man. I'm sure. Like
there are some times, you know, where my heart starts to race a little bit by how the kids respond back to me. Or, you know,
Yeah.
today it
You're like,
was,
shit, how many of these little bastards can I beat up? Like, if these kids decide to jump me, how many of these kids can I take? Holy shit.
oh, dude, I'm telling stories from the jail right now. I got one kid who's a bigger, scary looking kid, getting really pissed at this other kid for continually making really bad, obnoxious sounds in class. And it's like you can only go so far on telling these kids stuff because they've already made enough decisions where they're already there, right?
Yeah.
The kid who said, "I've been here longer than you," he literally came to school high and then got in trouble for it, but then was there like the next day because you're at the place where you go if you go to school high, right? Like,
Okay, so they're not being brought there. They're like, it's like a penitent, it's like a jail that they just get transferred over, right? They're
no,
not getting carted there every day.
no, they're getting dropped off by their parents. It's a school. It's
Oh,
still a
okay.
school. Like
Okay.
we're going
Their
through,
parents are getting them, actually getting them there. That's impressive. Okay.
or some people, I don't know. Who knows? It's a fascinating. That what I realized about this whole thing, Austin, is that all this stems from trauma of childhood abuse of some sort, and everyone wants to be loved, and they've gone after different things to fill that cup of not being loved the way that their true human self needs to be loved. And from that, they've now built walls and habits and all this. And the whole point of the entire program is to allow them to understand that it was your choice that got you here, and it is your choices that is going to get you out of here. And
Yeah.
it's ultimately like Jocko Willink or whatever.
Take ownership.
Yeah, it's extreme ownership. Just own it. Just
Yeah.
just own your stuff. And so, um, I think that going full circle here on this podcast, just talking about you've owned your stuff. This is going into creating Grakksaw. By the way, I'm gonna have to ask you what Grakksaw is, but yeah, but really, like, ownership, man. If you see a problem, you're one half of it, right?
Yeah.
You be the solution, and figure out your life, because no one's gonna come save you at the end of the day. You have to save
Yeah, no one's
yourself.
gonna come save you. Yeah, like you're saying, man. I mean, it's cliche, but hurt people hurt people. Like that's true. And like it's a that some of us weren't brought up in a house like that or an environment like that, and those kids couldn't choose what environment they're brought up in. But man, yeah, if you can teach them, man, I'd start stuff out of this shithole.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it really gives you a perspective on how people live. You know, I was talking to my principal and coworkers today. I was like, okay, everything's option, and you have to choose your words. You can't come at these kids. You have to allow them to have the ownership of it. You have option A, or you have option B. You choose. There's consequences to these. You can't say, "Hey, if you don't
Yeah.
do this, this is going to happen." You say,
That's like probably sets off all kinds of triggers and systems in them that just F you.
"Yeah, it's
Like I'm burning it down.
yes,
Yeah.
a cornered animal. Just okay. I have got nothing else to do except attack."
Yeah.
And so we had a kid today who didn't want to follow instructions, and we have very structured rules, and it's like, okay, you're choosing right now to either get out of this classroom and leave, or we're going to call a SRO, a school resource officer, a police officer down here, and they will remove you out of this classroom. And so just yesterday, we had to empty out an entire classroom to leave one kid in a room until they were able to make a decision to be like, okay, I will walk out on my own. Otherwise, you're out in handcuffs. Because now when the SRO says you need to leave and you don't, now you're criminally trespassing because you're no longer welcomed on this property. It's
Jeez, man.
fascinating. You're that close. The
It's
you
like
know,
I mean, it's like they don't have the ability to think. It's like sometimes those kids might not have the ability to think a step ahead. Like, I'm going to have to leave here no matter what. I could either be in a lot of trouble or I could just leave.
right.
Like,
Yeah. Are you a Bible believer guy?
I mean, uh, I'm a Christian. I guess I'll say that. I actually have been reading the Old Testament. Man, I'm confused as hell about a lot of stuff, but
Well,
I do.
we'll talk about that at some point. It says in the Bible that the power of life and death is in the tongue. Either you're going to speak life or you're going to speak death, and we need to be accountable for how we speak and how we talk to each other, how we talk to ourselves, how we talk about ourselves. And it's very critical, like how I was saying, like we need to make sure when we talk to these kids, it's language like it's your choice, it's ownership, because words matter and how we show up matters. And the point of this is this podcast is called Soul Seekers for a reason. We talk hunting, we talk products, we talk all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about becoming just a better person. Taking a nugget from this and being like, oh, that's right, hurt people do hurt people. I need to be a cycle breaker. I need to say
Yeah, man.
I'm no longer going to hurt my children because I was a hurt as a child, right? Um, I mean, this is why I do this podcast. So there you go. I guess I do create stuff.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. No, and yeah, to clarify, I'm a Christian and I am a Bible believer, but how you said that then I've been reading the Old Testament and I'm confused about a lot of stuff in the Old Testament, especially. The New Testament is a little easier to digest, but I haven't read the Old Testament since we had to in high school. And so it's been years and years and I'm like, man, I have a whole new you interpret things totally different as an adult than you did in high school. Everything about, man, there's so many different things, like Joseph and the coat of many colors. Like that whole story it's crazy, man.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
like,
Well, a lot of people don't even understand how amazing the stories are in the Bible. Elijah calls down fire from heaven, and fire just consumes um, his enemy. It's so insane. God says, "All right, what is the oh man." He's like, make a little altar, pour water on it 3 different times, and after the 3rd time, uh, fire will come down. And
mhm.
it's just like we have the power. God created us. We are made in His image. We are co-creators in Christ. It says we can move mountains. Let's create this world and whatever we want it to be. Let's create action. Let's manifest this. And
Yeah, there's extreme power in, well, there's extreme power in prayer, and there's extreme, which is focused will and intent, and that's what power comes from. Like focused will and intent and manifestation is real, and it is God given. Like if you focus on something enough, it can and will happen. Like not if you just think about it and daydream all day, but if you think about it all day and you think about steps to take to achieve it and you work at it, it happens more often than not.
yes, yes.
I'm a big believer in that.
Let's go. See, I knew I found my tribe when I saw you, Austin. I was like, yes, there's my.
Oh man, dude, I want to do like a Halloween special with you or something about crazy different, just like different spiritual topics and stuff, man.
Dude, yeah. Well,
I,
I'm down. You want to hear something really fascinating? Go back and read the book of Genesis. If you read like King James Version Bible, how I interpret the first couple chapters of Genesis is that the earth was actually flooded 3 times. The 3rd time is when the Noah flood happened. And then if you
okay.
consider like how things constantly repeat themselves in the Bible, that was why Elijah poured water on the altar 3 times before fire came down. Yeah.
Hey, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that. I got a question about that. Like, why does God refer to Himself as "we" in Genesis a lot? In the Old Testament, he talk "we" all the time. I'm like, what does that mean?
The royal we, baby.
Is that what that is?
It's well, think of it as a Trinity, right? The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Three persons in one. You're not.
I guess I'm gonna pull some. I'll pull some verses out from the Old Testament and send them your way and be like, all right, Johnny, interpret this for me.
I will put my manly eyes upon it and chew on it. Brother, what do you got in store for the future besides products? Like for you and your wife were at the Hunt Expo. Is she a big supporter of hunting in general? Does she hunt?
She doesn't hunt anymore. She used to, but she says I kill enough stuff and we don't need any more red meat. She actually is sick of eating red meat. She hates it. I make elk steak on a pellet grill and she complains about it. I'm like, what is your problem? Like, you know how lucky you are? And she's like, we eat red meat every night. I'm like, yes, we do. And we're always going to. So she does not hunt anymore, but yeah, she loves that I hunt, and it's my only hobby besides working, really. So she's cool with me doing it as much as I want.
Dude, that's awesome. Will just got his wife her very first bow.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, on Sunday we went down, got her all dialed in. We're gonna be going to Utah this year for elk, and she wants to sit in the woods with me. So
cool, man. Draw tag or over the counter?
Over the counter.
You going spike unit or you going like UNS?
Well, we got a good buddy that we met down there in the Mule Deer Foundation who's been down there a long time. Jake Olson, he's solid dude, and he put us on some elk. So
that's all you got to say. That's awesome, man. Heck yeah.
Our spike, but he's going to give me the tools I need and believes in our mission and stuff. So he's become a good friend, and he's going to get me out there and put me in position to make another good shot.
Heck yeah, dude.
Dude, I'll tell you this, Austin, if you like listening to podcasts, go back and listen to it's probably like episode like 192 or something. I'd have to actually look. But it's the episode I did with Jake Olson, the deer wrangler. Dude, his stories. So he's a volunteer for the Mule Deer Foundation. But he was the one who started their urban deer trapping and relocating program.
Hell yeah, dude. Cowboy.
Yes.
He is a cowboy, a horse farrier by trade.
Oh, hell yeah. He's a tough dude. I would already guess if I had $1 to bet, I'd say that guy's tough.
Yeah. So
he's a savage and an even better person. So
that's awesome. So they usually are, man.
Oh yeah. So he shares a couple stories on that podcast where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Because they trap these deer, and then you got to go in there and you got to wrangle them. You got to hobble them and flip them over and tie them up. And I'm like, that is incredible.
He's been kicked pretty hard by deer and stuff, huh?
He says he's been kicked. He's been bit. He goes, they bite really hard.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I got kicked by a doe very hard in the ribs one time. It was
the ones with good antlers don't feel too good either.
Oh, I bet not. Shit.
Yeah, I was asking about that on the podcast. I was like, so, you trap a big old mature buck in these nets. I was like, you could die. He's like, oh yeah, we're cutting those suckers off.
Perforate your lungs real quick.
Yes. So he was like, yeah, I used to, we'd have all these people with us and I'd hand out the antlers. He goes, I used to have a collection of antlers from cutting them off these bucks.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Because they would trap them in February. So their antlers that they're cutting off, they're going to fall off very soon anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, dude, go listen to that episode. Truly.
Heck yeah, dude. I got that written down. That sounds awesome. Heck yeah. So what you guys, so you're doing that this year, you're going to Utah, and then you got what do you got, Johnny? You got
we're navigating. So season 4 of Soul Seekers is going to be an Idaho spring bear hunt. We got Texas turkey, Washington fall bear, Utah archery elk, Washington deer, and then waterfowl. And then we're going to be incorporating some thermal hog predator hunts into season 4. Yeah.
Damn, you guys are getting after it. That's awesome.
I tell you, hunting that much is a lot of fun, but it's more like weekend warrior stuff. Not every hunt is like 10 days,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't do that. I don't know what job. I mean, I don't come from, I'm not a, what is it called? We're trust fund. I'm not a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
I can't just go hunt all the
Yeah.
time. So that, and I'm a parent. Like, Will's got 2 boys. I got 3 boys. Tony's a father. It's like we're leaving.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be a busy hunt year for sure, though.
That's
Down
awesome.
now, it's a lot easier to navigate because now, I mean, now mostly me and Tony are doing the Western big game. I mean, Johnny will be up here for whatever he can, but you know, he's still getting settled down and doing stuff. So the thermal game can open up some stuff for us. But yeah, we got a pretty packed for this year. At least I do. So
That's awesome, man.
Dude, so you are in Jefferson City, Missouri. You're only 9 hours from me down here. I'm just west of
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
Yeah, I need to, dude. I need to come kill some pigs, man. I've killed 3 hog. Yeah, I've killed 3 hogs, and man, it was pretty awesome. I just killed. They were piglet. Can I say that? They were pretty much piglets and a sow. There wasn't anything big, but
Yeah. No,
man, there was those big boars, dude. Those things are cagey, man. Those things are. They do not put up with anything, man. They are so wary.
dude,
Johnny killed it not long ago.
Dang, man.
I know. Actually, I should go grab my skull real quick. Since you're on
Dude,
here,
what
Will,
kind of contract do I got to sign to go on a pig hunt with you? Do I got to give you the business, or what do I got to do, man? Because
yeah,
I really want to
throw out a discount code for for all the listeners if they want to pick up some Grakksaw goods. And
yeah,
we'll take
what do
it.
you guys usually have? You want to do
Soul Seeker.
A Soul
Soul
Seekers.
Seeker,
Just Soul
just
Seekers, and then you
Soul Seekers with an S at the end. Soul Seekers. All right, I'll set it up in
Yep, and
5
we make
minutes. Once we're out here,
we make it one word just for the sake of typing it all together. Soul Seekers. No,
Yeah.
man, dude, come down and hammer some stuff with us. I'll tell you this: a lot of people don't realize this. That like, oh, dude, you don't want to shoot little piglets. Well, when those little piglets are destroying property and they get huge, and pigs reproduce every 90 days, like
Yeah.
they pump out a ton.
yeah. I said piglets. I mean, they're probably like 30 pounders, but the dudes I was with were like, "You're shooting every pig you see. Like we're shooting pigs." So I mean, we ate them. It was good. So
Yeah, dude, have you? So you've eaten a lot of wild pig, huh?
I wouldn't say a lot, but I mean,
What'd you
yeah.
think of
so
it?
that was one year.
I just got this book. It's called The Hog Book. It's a chef's guide to hunting, butchering, and cooking wild pigs.
Cool, man.
Dude, it's open this up, like the detail. Oh, who's that? Some lady with barbecue sauce
Nice.
dripping down her arm.
It's like, what do you open up?
Yeah,
dude?
what do you, dude? I don't think this is the book you're supposed to be opening right now.
So it talks about like butchering it and
Better fold.
even psychological warfare is chapter 4. That's what it's called. Trapping them, how to trap hogs, all that, and then processing them. Apparently,
yeah, I think what I did with most of it was ground it up and mixed it in with my deer. So because the deer's so lean, you know, and I mean that's what I did with most of it, and then
Yeah.
made some. I don't know if we shredded any of it. We did the old Texas thing where you build a bed of coals and like a fire, and then you put those coals in the ground, and then bury the pig in aluminum foil and all that for a day. We did that. It was good.
we did one of those in college. We had a hog party. It wasn't a wild hog, but that's fun to dig it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of beer drank and that kind of stuff. It was fun.
A lot of good times. Well, dude, we're gonna have to have you down to Texas when the other boys roll down, and we'll just have ourselves a good old time. I'll tell you, thermals blows me away how freaking awesome and addicting it is, because down here you're cruising in a truck, a quad, a side by side, whatever, nice and slow at night, and you're like, what do I see? Jackrabbit. Oh, armadillo. Oh, raccoons. Oh, it's like literally.
Dude, that is cool.
Yeah, and like, oh, there's a coyote or there's some hogs, and then make sure the wind is right and go get as close as possible and lay the hammer down.
That is so cool. I've when we went, we just used like the green and red wicket lights,
Yep.
and then I've hunted coyotes with PVS 14s, just night vision, but that's nothing like thermal. I've never even looked through true thermal. I've looked through like apps with thermal, that crap, but I've never looked through real nice thermal.
Yeah.
So that's pretty, I bet that's amazing, man.
Oh, it makes you want to lose sleep very fast. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. That's a dangerous thing, man. If I had that around here, yeah, I'd be just walking through my woods all the time.
Well, this coming weekend, I'm actually going on my very first. Well, we talked about this at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I'm going on my very first predator tournament. So here's how you have to enter to even qualify for this tournament. Well, you're in it, but like to qualify to even be in the prize money is you have to either shoot 4 foxes, 4 coyotes, 4 coons, or I think 4 hogs before you can even enter into the pot. So it doesn't have to
Wow.
be in order, but you have to have 4 of something.
4 of 4 animals.
4 of one kind of animal.
Oh,
yes. So it's not like a fox,
Dang,
a
dude.
coyote, a hog, a coon. It's 4 of one kind before you can even get in.
Dang, dude, you're in the high roller poker tournament, dude. That's beyond my pay grade.
I know. So there's this thing called the Big Cat tournament out in West Texas, and the first place is $80,000.
Just like some oil guys sitting around drinking scotch, like, I'll donate 80 grand to this boy. Like, who's funding that?
Dude, I have no idea, but it turns out like when we were up at the Hunt Expo, I was talking to Josh, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls.
Fields,
Josh
Josh
Fields.
Fields.
Yeah, he's doing. They do it 3 times a year: January, February, and March. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be down there hunting that in March." And so I was like,
Wow, man.
It's a lot. It's a lot bigger than people even realize. So, anyways, let's wrap this bad boy up just for the sake of everyone's sanity right now, because you guys all you listeners got to hear us ramble on about fireworks and politics and jails and prisons and Bible talk.
Genesis, yeah.
Austin, how'd you come up with the name Grakksaw?
Man, it's I made it up, but I think I told you this at the expo, right? Did you ask me this?
I did.
Yeah, so it's so stupid. But I actually, like every other bro in high school, I watched 300 and I was like, oh man, this is the greatest movie. Well, there's this part in 300 where Leonidas yells at the Arcadian, like the militia guy. He's like this bald jack dude, like everybody in the movie jacked, but he yells at this dude, and I thought he said Grakksaw or something similar. And I'm like, oh, Grakksaw, that's a badass name. Like, that's a cool name for a man to be named. Like, damn, I didn't know that was a name. And I replayed it, and it's nothing like, it's not Grakksaw. I don't know I don't even remember the name, but it's not Grakksaw. It's not even close. And I'm like, well, that name's cool. I'm going to keep that name. So that's the name. It's a stupid story, but that's what it is. And it's it's totally original. So I'm like, sweet. I'll pick the name.
There you go. It's easy to say. It was either name my first child Grakksaw or name my company it.
And I thought it had like a tough sounding, I don't know, it's like, I think it looks good on looks good on paper when you write it in all caps. And it's easy to say. I thought it fit well. So,
dude, I love it. I love it. All right, so listeners, go check out Grakksaw.com and go get yourself some game bags, some horn hooks. What do you call them? Skull hooks? Skull hookers?
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. One's the claw and one's the rack.
The claw.
Yeah.
It
chooses who will go and who will stay.
Right.
It really does.
The claw. Dude, He just straight pulled out a Toy Story quote right there.
It's one of the best lines of the movie. Come on, man. You all knew. Everybody listening knows that. Come on.
100%.
I freaking love it. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Austin, thank you so much for coming on, being a part of the show, being a part of Soul Seekers Nation. Guys, use the code Soul Seekers at checkout, and you can save yourself some money at Grakksaw.com. That is GRAKKSAW.com, and I'll have the link in the show notes as well. Once again, be blessed. Remember that mentorship is conservation. You can never outgive good, as hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure. I'm Johnny Mac, Iron Will, Austin. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast and want to support the show, you can always like, share, subscribe, and leave a rating, as it helps us share our mission of mentorship is conservation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Soul Seekers Nation as we transform lives through primal adventure. If you want to get more connected with the podcast, check out the Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group, as I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. So stay tuned and stay soulful.